Good day, and thank you for tuning in 3D, the Daily Divine Direction broadcast. For all of our new listeners and viewers who are tuning in for the very first time, I'm Pastor Pope, and thank you for allowing us to come into your viewing environment. We are here with you, broadcasting live from the FijiWater.com sponsored studio every Monday through Friday from 12:30 p.m. until 1 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, to address whatever topics you might like to discuss, whatever issues of life you find challenging or that you find difficult to navigate. You can discuss careers, finances, entrepreneurship. You can discuss marriage, divorce, raising children, blending families. You can discuss dating and relationships. Whatever's in your heart and whatever's on your mind, God is concerned about that which concerns you. So we are here for you in 3D. The Daily Divine Direction broadcast, which is brought to you daily by Fiji Water, Earth's finest water. You may already know that Fiji water comes from Fiji. However, did you know that it is created by nature? It is untouched by man. It starts as a tropical rainfall which slowly filters through layers of volcanic rock, where the water collects in a natural, sustainable artesian aquifer where it is bottled right at the source, free from human contact until you unscrew the blue cap. Fiji Water, Earth's finest water, will be delivered right to your front door when you subscribe for delivery. And you'll save money at FijiWater.com. This is not just water. This is Fiji Water at FijiWater.com. And for those of you who continue giving on the Give segment of our app at New Life Delaware, and those of you that have made a weekly or monthly commitment to support the broadcast by giving on the contribution pages of our websites at newlifeministriesinternational.com and newlifeinternationalcdc.com. We thank you for your support and your commitment as we fulfill our commitment to God to be here for you every Monday through Friday from 12:30 p.m. until 1 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time in 3D. So we are live on Facebook. We are YouTube Live. We are RadioFreeNetwork.com live. You can go to RadioFreeNetwork.com, click on radio. The New Life link will appear in the drop-down box. Click on New Life. Every broadcast is available to you Monday through Friday from 12:30 p.m. until 1 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. And of course, on Sunday sermon at 10:45 a.m. at New Life Christian Center, 400 Hillcrest Avenue in Wilmington, Delaware, 19809. So I'm going to remind all of our listeners and viewers, although I probably don't need to say this, but I just want to make certain that I remind everyone, because I know how much you all love our monthly contributor, Rebecca Buva, licensed and registered dietitian and nutritionist, who is with us the first Thursday of every month, BeccaTheDietitian.com. And tomorrow, you don't want to miss this, because from 12:30 p.m. until 1 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, wherever you are across the U.S. and wherever you are around the globe, with us live right here in 3D will be Rebecca Buva, licensed and registered dietitian and nutritionist. You can go to BeccaTheDietitian.com, click on media. You can see every broadcast that she's done to enhance your health and wellness. And you can go on her website and review. A lot of information is there that will help you with your health and your wellness. And of course, on there you will find all of the insurances that she accepts. So you want to make sure that you contact your insurer, your insurance company, to find out how you may be able to use her services at BeccaTheDietitian.com. I'm going to address a communication that came in from one of our listeners and viewers who indicated that you have someone who you might be interested in dating. And although you've heard the instruction on the Daily Divine Direction broadcast regarding dating on a mission, however, your concern is that he is not going to wait longer than you inviting him to church 3 times and out to lunch 3 times, or inviting him to take you out to lunch, to church and to lunch 3 times. And the reason I had to clarify that is because, pardon me, it doesn't matter what society tells us. If someone is going to take out a woman, unless it's a man's birthday or it's some special occasion for him, he gets a promotion in his career and he's your significant other, unless it's those circumstances, a true gentleman is always going to take a lady out to eat. He's not going to expect her to pick up the check. So even your interest in him doesn't imply that he should not pick up the check. That's the first thing. But secondly, your concern, and I'm going to go back to your communication. You have heard everything that's been said about dating on a mission. However, your concern is that it's going to take longer than he will be willing to wait. If that is the case, he's not the one for you. See, remember, how can two walk together unless they agree? First of all, you cannot be unequally yoked. So he has to have the same standards that you have. He's a different person. Everybody's an individual, but he has to have the same standards. And how can you walk together unless you agree? You're trying to line the relationship up with God. You think he's not going to want to. And the reason you think that is because you have come to realize that he's not spiritually grounded. So he probably doesn't have a home church. Then invite him to your church. Invite him to your church and out to lunch. Just tell him, let me touch on this also, because I think we misinterpret what society has taught us to be the norm. It doesn't require the man to ask you out first if you're interested in him. You have to make yourself available, and then you can simply say to him, how would you like to attend church with me and go out to lunch? It's simple, because he may be one of those people that doesn't pick up cues that you're even interested. So you simply ask him, how would you like to go to church with me and out to lunch? Now, you're going to find out a couple of things here. First of all, if he says, well, I don't really do church, run, Forrest, run. No, I'm just kidding. That solves your issue right there. I don't do church. That means you don't do the Lord. That means you don't have a relationship with the Lord, so we don't need to go any further. Even if he says to you, well, I'll go out to lunch. No. That's okay. Thank you very much. I'm really doing something very specific in my life. And what that is making sure that anyone I'm going to have a relationship with has a relationship with the Lord. That will end that conversation right there. Because if he doesn't have a relationship with the Lord, he can't have a good relationship with you. He can't develop a good relationship with you. He'll develop a relationship that looks like the rest of the world. And that's not what you should be looking for, because that's not what you want. So just simply invite him to church and out to lunch. If you go to church with him and out to lunch with him, if he doesn't pick up the check, and I'm not talking about discussing it with you, can you go Dutch? I'm not talking about waiting for you because you invited him out to lunch. You just ask him to go to lunch. As a gentleman, he should pick up the check. Period. If he doesn't do that, that tells you all you need to know. Because he's not a gentleman. He's just a man. Secondly, if he's willing to do that, when lunch is over, tell him you would like for him to go to church with you again next week and out to lunch. Now, if he's really interested he's going to move forward with that. He's going to do the same thing he's done the first time. If he says to you, I'd like to go to church with you again and take you out to lunch next Sunday, then you know you're on to something here. But if you have to ask him a second time, ask him. You're interested in him. So you're interested in him and hopefully his soul. I happen to know God allowed me to see in that secret place of your life. Your interest is a little more than that, but you know, people often look at the careers that someone else is having, the success someone else is having, you know, how do they appear, you know, are they working out? I don't know him personally. He's not in our area, but he's a good physical specimen of a man, but how is his soul? That's really what you want to know. So invite him a second time. If he goes to church and out to lunch with you a second time and picks up the check again, you know you're really on to something. By then, he should get the message. We're on to something here. You know, when he asks you out to go to dinner, just say to him, I'd like to go to church and out to lunch one more time. If he really is in tune with what's going on, he'll say to you, I want to go to church with you again next Sunday and out to lunch again. After those 3 times, you'll have clarity. You'll know everything you need to know about the possibilities that this could be someone that you're going to be able to build a relationship with. Because during the lunch, and this is what I probably should have been saying all along, because, and I know I made reference to this before, but you don't go to lunch and talk about where you like to go on trips. You don't go to lunch and talk about, you know, where you like to hang out. You want to have a conversation at lunch about what's his 7-year plan for his life. What's his 14-year plan for his life? What's his 21-year plan for his life? In other words, what's the vision that he has for his life? Does he have any interest? And I know society will tell you, oh, it's a little fast to ask questions. Does he have any interest in being married someday? It's never too early to ask that question. Does he even want to be married? You know, are you interested in being married someday? Do you have any interest in having children someday? These are things you need to know. What are his morals in life? You know, what does he think about the society in which we live? You know, you don't have to talk about hanging out to find out if he's hanging out. These are things we really need to get to know about people that we're interested in, because you're on a mission. And the mission is to find someone or to be found by someone who you can establish a relationship, develop that relationship, and eventually will lead to being married. That would be the goal, unless you desire to be single and alone for the rest of your life. We really have to think about what we're doing, how we're doing it, how we're living, to get to the place where we experience the fullness of God in all of our lives, every one of us. So we should be intentional about everything we're doing, every day, both personally and professionally. Intentional about everything we do. And just because you're interested in someone doesn't change the structure. Just because he didn't express an interest in you first doesn't change the structure. Because you don't know what's going on in his head, but you know what's going on in your head. So it's okay for you to act upon that. It's how you move forward that will make all the difference. If he doesn't want to wait 3 weeks to go to church and out to lunch and find out really where the two of you could possibly be going without, you know, spending a lot of money and, you know, laying up with one another and getting emotionally involved and, exchanging spirits and doing all of the things that society does, then he really doesn't have an interest in knowing where you want to go. He really doesn't have a plan on where he's going to take you. He just is doing what everyone else is doing, and that's just hanging out and having a good time. It's your thing. Do what you want to do. No, this is not how we choose to live, because we want to experience the fullness of God in all of our lives. 3D, today's Daily Divine Direction broadcast is brought to you by Fiji Water, as always. This segment of the broadcast is brought to you by T-Mobile, America's largest, fastest, and most reliable 5G provider at no extra charge. If you're not currently a T-Mobile customer, nor have you been for the previous 90 days, you may call or text on the T-Mobile call or text line at 267-992-1424. We will place you into our queue so that you may become a T-Mobile customer and experience America's largest, fastest, and most reliable 5G provider at no extra charge. Taxes and fees are included in your bill, and if you auto pay by attaching a credit card to your account, you will receive a discount on your monthly bill at T-Mobile, America's largest, fastest, and most reliable 5G provider at no extra charge. We are broadcasting live right here from the FijiWater.com studio. I'm going to address another communication that came in from one of our listeners and viewers who indicated that your sister is constantly crying broke and has been a burden to your parents. However, she always has money to do the things she wants to do, and yet she's always telling your parents that she doesn't have any money. She's always broke. She needs help with this, she needs help with that. Okay, so let me just say this to you. Your parents will stop when they're tired. When they are tired of being used by your sister, they will stop. They will stop they will come to realize, let me break this down for you. I get it. You're the responsible sibling. So you're the responsible child. You're the one who, invites your parents over for dinner. You're the one who goes and visits your parents on the weekends. You're the one who makes sure that if your parents don't need anything, but if they want something done, you help out. You're around your parents. Both of you are single. Both you and your sister are single. But you're the responsible one. Your sister, just lives by the direction that the wind blows, and you say she has money to do what she wants to do, but she's always crying broke. Well, the reason she's crying broke is because she spends her money doing what she wants to do, and then what she needs, she goes to your parents for. But she doesn't really need it. The reason she needs it is because she's done what she wanted to do. And I get it that this is annoying to you at least and offensive to you at most. And the reason you take offense to it is because you expect her to be more responsible. Got it. You have to realize that when your parents have finally decided that enough is enough, that your sister has to be more responsible, they will stop supplementing her income. They'll stop doing the things that they do when they realize that they're really creating a problem for the life of your sister. And the reason that they're creating a problem is because as long as they keep doing what she wants done, she's going to keep spending her money on things that she doesn't need to spend her money on. She's going to continue doing things that she doesn't need to do because she can afford to do them as long as your parents keep helping out. So they're a supplemental income for her. She pays her bills, most of them, but they're supplement. If there's something she wants, she's going to go to them. And they're going to do it until they decide that they're not going to do it any longer. When they decide that they want to begin doing some things for themselves, they're going to stop doing for her, because you both are adults. And you are only offended because you are more responsible. And that's always going to be the case in every family. You're always going to have one person who's responsible, and then you're going to have everyone else who just does whatever it is they do. That's just a matter of life. And the reason is because you have you who has decided that you're not going to live the way everybody else is living, and then you have your sibling who has decided that the way the wind blows is the best way to go. Well, I always use an analogy, and I don't want to bleed over into another communication, but how's that working out for her? Because think about this. You're living in a home. You have your own home. You're building some wealth. She's still living in an apartment and asking your parents to help her out. That ought to tell you something. You're doing things the right way. She's just doing things her way. Right, wrong, or indifferent, she's doing things her way. And when people are doing things their way, I always ask the same question: how's that working out for you? Because one thing we know by now is that unless we're doing things God's way, unless we're trying to line up with God's way and God's will according to His word, we're not going to get the fullness of God that we truly should desire. All of us should desire that. But we're not going to get that if we are not lining up our way with the way of God, our will with the will of God, and our lives with the Word of God. We really have to work on becoming a living Word. We really have to work on really focusing to maximize the quality of life. That requires work. But she's your sister, and you love her, and you want her to be more responsible, and I get it. We all should want that for all of our family members. Everyone's not going to do what's necessary or required of them to maximize their success. See, let me take this a little further for all of our listeners and viewers. Here's the issue. Some people decide that they want to maximize the quality of their life. Some people decide that they're satisfied with the quality of life they currently have. And then there are people who have just decided that they're going to accept whatever life happens to them. Whatever happens to them in life, they're just going to live with it. And those are the three categories. Now, someone might expound on that a little further, but those are the three categories that we get to live within. And the one is a category that doesn't allow us to maximize our success. It doesn't even allow us to get to a place of mediocrity, because we just accepted whatever's going to happen in life is just going to happen to us. We're not going to put any more work in, and we're going to live a life of woe is me. That's the victim mentality. And then you have the mentality of mediocrity that says, I'm satisfied right where I am, and life is good, so I don't need to give any more. I don't need to do any additional work. I don't need to improve myself. I'm cool right where I am. That's a life of mediocrity. And then you have those of us who want to maximize the fullness of God in all of our lives. And that's what each of us should be searching for. If you're with us in 3D, the Daily Divine Direction broadcast, Monday through Friday from 12:30 p.m. until 1 p.m., that should be your goal. Because that's what we do. We live to maximize the fullness of God in all of our lives. This segment of the broadcast is brought to you by Charles Tyrwhitt, located in London, the UK. They also have stores in New York, Chicago, Washington, D.C., and at the King of Prussia Mall in King of Prussia, Pennsylvania. So if you're in any of those areas, stop in at their retail stores. They have everything a man could possibly need: shirts for men, ties for men, suits for men, and accessories. I am fully in Charles Tyrwhitt attire today. If you're not in any of those areas, you can order from Charles Tyrwhitt at ctshirts.com. They will ship and deliver right to your front door in an appropriate period of time. And the White Company, located in London, the UK. They also have a store on Fifth Avenue in New York. If you're in New York, stop in at their retail store. They have everything you could possibly need: home goods, clothing for men, women, and children. And if you're not in New York, you can order from The White Company at thewhitecompany.com. They too will ship and deliver right to your front door in an appropriate period of time. I'm going to address another communication that came in from one of our listeners and viewers who have you indicated that you have a blended family. Your son was married and has children by the first marriage, divorced and has remarried and now has a child by his new wife. His new wife also has a child by her first marriage. And you want to know how much of this is going to be a responsibility of yours also, considering she has a child by a previous marriage, and now your ex, you didn't say this in your communication, but God allowed me to see in that secret place of all of your lives. Your ex-daughter-in-law is now remarried. And so let me just say this. It's real simple. Love overcomes all of that. You and your husband are struggling about how much time you should have with the child who was brought into the family by the previous marriage of your new daughter-in-law. You know, we make all this too complicated. Here's the reality. There's children involved. You just have to love everybody. Now, I know adults sometimes make it difficult to love them. And you get to choose how you're going to respond to adults based on how they respond to you. You get to choose how you're going to handle grown adults. We don't get to choose how we handle children, because children are brought into this world innocent, without request. They never requested to be here. Once they arrive, all you can do is love on them. And what I mean by that is, you do your part to make certain they're comfortable. You do your part to make certain that they are emotionally well. You do your part to make sure that they have protection from the rest of this world, because the world is not such a friendly place. You do your part to make sure that they don't get wet. In other words, that they don't get rained on. You do your part to make sure that they're warm, clothed and warm. You do your part to make sure that they eat every day. You do your part to make certain that they get a good education. You do your part to make sure that they know that they are loved. And then after that, you get to decide how you're going to deal with the adults. Okay? You get to decide how you want to handle them based on how they handle you. You get to decide how much time you're going to spend with the adults. But as far as the children are concerned, when one comes, they all come. And the reason is because children deserve to be loved. They deserve to be protected, and they deserve to be nurtured to become the best version of themselves that they can possibly become. 3D, today's Daily Divine Direction broadcast, has been brought to you by Fiji Water. A taste of paradise will be delivered right to your front door when you subscribe for delivery, and you'll save money at FijiWater.com. gmail.com. May God bless you today. May God keep his face turned towards you. May God give you peace that surpasses all understanding. Have a great day today. Let me remind you again tomorrow.